Alright, hey guys. In this video I'm going to go over the CryptoBub alert builder, and you can see here, you can find it here in the top. Click that link and then it'll bring you to this page here. Basically what it's for and how it's going to help you create TradingView alerts and how to format them, and just how it's going to make your life a whole lot easier, because trying to do this without it is a real pain. And this is just from experience of trying to create uh, alerts for like 10, 15 pairs. It's confusing because there are many different steps, and you could botch one on accident and then, oh no, now my alert doesn't work. So that's the whole reason behind this, is just to try and help minimize errors and kind of make it a little bit easier and faster. That's the key, is to make it faster and not create errors and things of that nature. So I think the first thing that I want to go over is the bot messages, and these are in your actual 3 commas bots. And then I'll jump into the actual alert builder here, and then we'll do some scenarios at the end of like an actual scenario where I'm trying to create multiple alerts for multiple pairs, all that kind of stuff. So let's start off with how you actually connect your 3 commas bots to TradingView, and there's actually good documentation on 3 commas. If you go to the help section and type in TradingView, there's a really good article that actually explains how to set up your bots for TradingView. But I'm just going to go over a really quick explanation of what 3 commas and TradingView, where the connection is and how it works and all that good stuff. So I've made 5 simple bots, and I've also made a composite bot at the bottom here. And let's just jump into simple bot number 1. Now at the bottom, and this is for every single bot. Now I'm on 3C Exchange. This is just a dummy account. It's a demo for testing purposes and recording and all that kind of stuff. I don't actually have anything here. But it's the same regardless if you're on 3C Exchange or 3commas.io. If you go to a bot down at the bottom, every single bot is going to have these messages that will tell your bot what to do. That's the primary goal for these messages. Now, if you click the message show button here, and this is actually new, they just added this. Beforehand it just used to show the message, and you would have to click this, it would copy it. But now you can actually click just the message here, it'll copy it to your clipboard, and then you can paste it, or you can hit show and then do the same here. So let's go over what this actually is. These messages for your bots are no other than just instructions for this particular bot. Okay, so we're on simple bot 1. Now these set of instructions are going to be completely different depending on whatever bot you're on. So for instance, I said I have 5 simple bots. This is on simple bot 1. If I were to go to simple bot 2 and copy the same message, it's going to be a completely different message, but it's still going to tell my bot the exact same thing. It's going to tell my bot to start the deal. And the way that it does that is, if you look here, it says bot ID. That is how 3 commas actually tells, or actually knows, which bot that you're referring to. So for instance, if we look here, this is simple bot number 1. My bot ID is 1078554. Now if I go back to my bots here, and if I go to simple bot number 2, and I show the same exact message for the deal start signal, you can see here that says 1078555, whereas simple bot number 1 was 8554. So that's the unique identifier that 3 commas uses to identify which bot that you're referring to. So keep that in mind. That is going to be important. Also, a side note, your email token, do not paste this into a public area. I don't care. I don't mind showing you guys, because this this account, or this whole, I don't have anything on 3C Exchange, so I don't really care. But whenever you're asking for your help or anything on Discord or whatever it may be, don't put this out there for people to see. This is a private token. You don't want people to know about this. It's just another avenue for people to be able to get into your account and all that kind of stuff. So rule of thumb, if you're going to paste anything, just copy this and then just select this here and then put some X's or something like that in place of your email token. Your bot ID is fine. That doesn't really matter as much, but your email token is more of a secure thing that people don't really need to know about. Okay, so let's go back to number 1. Okay, so if you ever see anybody referring to bot messages, or another way that people will reference this information is what I call, and this is the actual technical term, is JSON. So JSON. It's basically a JSON object. And what a JSON object here is basically a open curly brace, a closed curly brace, and then you have a key value pair. So key value, the key is the bot ID, the value is the number, the key is the email token, the value is the string here, and then same likewise. You could have way more key values, it's just whatever it is. So same thing here. We have key value, key value, key value, and then we also have another key that's different called action, and then the value of close at market price. Okay, so if you ever see anybody reference or say something about a JSON object when they're talking about their 3 commas bots, this is what they're talking about right here. Now the way that 3 commas and TradingView talk to each other is they use this information right here. Now remember I said that all these are just a set of instructions. Well, the format is simply a JSON object. Now whenever we go to TradingView and you actually create an alert, right here in the message area, this is where you're going to actually paste the JSON object. So whenever this alert fires, so whatever condition that you have set, the alert fires, boom, it's going to send whatever is in this message to 3 commas, as long as you have your webhook set up and all that kind of stuff. If you go to, so if you have the Pro, I think it's at least the Pro. Let's see here. What does it say? Well, it doesn't say here, but yeah, I think it's the Pro version to use the webhook. It may be the Premium. I can't remember. You can use the webhook, and then on 3 commas, if you go to the help article that I talked about earlier, where if you type in TradingView and help, it'll bring that article up, and it'll have that link there that you can actually put in for the webhook URL. Otherwise, you'll have to put in the send email to SMS, which I believe is in that help article as well. So either or, you're going to be putting in this information. But anyways, once that's configured, then this message is going to get sent to 3 commas, and it's going to contain your bot JSON object. And remember that we said the bot JSON, which is this here, is nothing more than a set of instructions for this specific bot. So whenever this alert fires, it's sending those instructions to 3 commas to say, hey, 3 commas, do something with this particular bot. And so for instance, in this case, if I wanted to start a deal for this bot, I would copy this, and then I would just put this in here and paste it in and create the alert. So whenever this fired, it would send this information to 3 commas, and it would start the deal for this bot. I think that's pretty much the gist of what I want to go over. I don't want to go into too detailed because the article is there and you can just read through that. But let's now jump over to the actual alert builder. So now that we know what I'm referring to when I say, okay, you're going to paste your JSON object, now you know that I'm actually talking about this message here. And remember, you can click just this link here. So for instance, like you can simply click that. Or if you actually want to read and see what it says, you can copy that. You can click and it'll copy that too. So either one of these will work. Okay, now let's actually jump over. Let's shift gears for a bit and jump into the actual alert builder. First thing that you want to keep in mind here is the options to choose between the mixed option or the composite. So let's start off with the composite because it's a little bit more straightforward. You're going to use the composite section here if you are working with a composite bot. You're not going to use this if you're working with a simple bot. So pretty straightforward in that aspect. And then for your mixed, if you want to take it for what it is, mixed, you would think that you're going to be combining multiple things, and that is correct. You're going to use the mixed option if you have if you're going to have a simple bot and a composite bot mixed together into one alert, or you can use this for simply just a simple bot. You can also use this for two simple bots mixing together into one alert. So what I mean by mixing together into one alert is, let's say that you want to have two pairs of instructions, so two bots. You want to control two bots at the same time when something happens. A good example of this is with the switch, like with the TBO or something like that. If you wanted to close a short deal and then open a long deal all within the same alert here. So for instance, let's say on the TBO long, and we'll go over this in actual example here in just a second, but let's say the TBO long alert, when that fires, I want to close my short deal and then open my long deal. So I would need to actually have two instructions here. I would need to go to my short bot, get the close instructions, or the JSON object, paste that in here, and then I would need to go to my long bot, get the deal start instructions, paste that in here, and then create the alert. So I can have multiple instructions within one alert. Okay, so just remember, for a recap, composite you're going to use actually for composite bots. You're not going to use it for anything else. And then for the mixed, you're going to use it for simple bots if you want to combine simple bot instructions, or if you want to combine simple and composite bot, you're going to use this area here. So composite, mixed. Okay, so let's stick with, actually let's do composite just because that's the easier one. So this will be a real life example, or a real life scenario that could happen. Take a drink of water here. Okay, so let's say, actually hold on, before I go into this, let's jump back into the 3 JSON objects here. So if you notice here, I'm on my simple bot 1. If you notice here, there is nothing that actually references what pair to actually do something with. So you'll notice here that none of these JSON objects actually has like, okay, pair, blah, I want this pair to do something. That's because in simple bots we can only have one pair ever. It's always going to have one pair, so whenever you send a message, it knows that it needs to actually run for this pair, and that's going to happen all the time. So you'll notice here that there's nothing that says anything about BTC ETH. Well, if I go to my composite bot, where I can have multiple pairs within the same bot, you'll notice here that I have two pairs at the moment. I have BTC ETH and I have BTC BNB. Now if I come down here and I look at the deal start JSON object, you'll notice here now that they've added the pair key with the value of BTC underscore ETH. Now by default, it's always going to be your first pair that's listed here. So BTC ETH is going to be BTC down here. If this was BTC BNB instead, so actually let's just go ahead and change this just so you can see what happens. Actually that's how it had, sorry. So BTC BNB and then BTC ETH, save, okay. Alright, so now you notice here that BTC BNB is first now, and now you'll notice that the pair has now changed. So by default, it's going to just put in whatever is at the first one here. Now what this is telling you, and this is important to know about composite bots, what this object is telling you is it's saying, okay, within a composite bot, you can have many pairs. You can have, 100 plus pairs. So how do we tell the bot which pair that we actually want to do something with? So if I wanted to do a deal start on BNB, how does it know that? Well, it knows that by using this pair key and then the value of whatever pair that you want to use. So for instance, if I want to do a deal start signal for BNB, then I would use BTC underscore BNB within this message. But if I wanted to use BTC underscore ETH instead, I would have to actually, whenever I copy this and paste it in, I would have to copy this, paste this in, and then change this part here to BTC ETH. So you actually have to change the alert to open for the pair that you actually want to do something with. So that is important. Remember that whenever you're working with these messages for a composite bot, you actually have to tell the bot which pair that you want to do something with based on your message here. So if you notice down here, it's the same thing with if I wanted to close a deal at market price or close order at market price, you can see here that it also has the pair key and then a value of BNB. Same. If I wanted it for BNB, I could just leave it as is. But if I wanted to change it to a different pair and control the pair for BTC ETH or something, then after I copy this, I would paste it in here. Then I would actually have to come in and change this to the pair that I actually want to do something with. Okay. So now with that in mind, let's go back here. And we're talking about a composite bot, right? So let's stick with just deal start. So let's say in this example, I've got, let's go to, I'm on BNB, actually I'm already on BNB here, so that's fine. So let's say I want to go ahead and create 2 alerts for BNB and ETH. I want to do a deal start signal for both of those. So normally what you would do is what we were talking about earlier. So without, let's do it without the alert builder. So you would come here, you would copy the message here, you would come to BNB, and let's say, just TBO, and I want it to do a long, this is just for example purposes, so this is not some kind of crazy strategy or anything like that. So you would come down here, you would paste this in, and this is on BNB, so this is BNB, so everything matches, good to go. Okay, so I'm going to hit create. Okay, and that's good. Now what I need to do is go to ETH, BTC. Okay, so now I'm on BTC ETH. Okay, now remember we actually have to go in and change the pair, so I don't actually have to come back here. I can just use the same information because I'm doing the deal start again. So I'll come here, I'll go to TBO long, and because I'm doing the same exact, I'm doing a deal start condition, which is the exact same message that I'm using here, I'm not going to bother going back. I can just paste the same thing. But because I'm on the ETH pair now, I need to make sure I change the pair to ETH, and that way whenever this alert fires, it's going to actually choose the ETH pair within my composite bot and do whatever I'm telling it to. And for instance, I'm telling it to do a deal start for the ETH pair, and I'll hit create. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete you. So that's without using the alert builder. So now let's use the alert builder. Okay, so we're going to do the exact same thing here. We're going to decide what our logic is. So I have 2 pairs. I want to do a deal start condition on both of those pairs. So I want to start a deal whenever there's a TBO long signal. I want to start a deal for BNB, and I want to start a deal for ETH. Okay, so let's go down here to these 2 options here. Typically when you have a bot or multiple bots, if you have actions or messages that are they involve multiple things. So for instance, let's take an example. If you have, let's say, an alert where you want to close a deal within a bot, and then within that same bot you want to open another deal. That is a perfect example of where you would need a delay. So let's say 5. The reason being is because when that deal or when that alert is sent to 3 commas from TradingView, so let's say boom, an alert fires, information gets set to trading, or sorry, when the alert fires on TradingView, the information, so the instructions that I just had here, get sent to 3 commas. There's a processing amount of time. It takes time to actually process that data, whether it be like 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, however long it is. There's a certain amount of time that is processing. So if I'm trying to close a deal, it's going to need to have time to actually close that deal. And then if I need to open a deal, it's going to need to have time to actually open that deal. So that's a good example, is whenever you have 2 deals that are that require processing time. So for instance, like closing a deal, then opening a deal, and all that kind of stuff. Now, what we're doing in this example is 2 deals that are actually going to start, but because there were no deals open beforehand, I don't necessarily need to worry about a delay, because all I'm doing is saying, hey, go ahead and start the deal for this bot. Or sorry, yeah, well, for this bot, but also for the pair. So, we're working with BNB and we're working with Ethereum. So because I don't have any other deals open and I'm not doing anything with any previous deals or anything like that, then I can come in and just say 0, because all I'm doing is saying, hey bot, go start the deal for this BNB, or hey bot, go start the deal for this Ethereum. But on the flip side, let's say that I wanted to close a deal for BNB, but then open a deal for BNB as well. That is when you're going to need to have a delay. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So for instance, if I'm doing something with the same pair, you're going to need a delay. So if you have actions that deal with the same pair or something, and I'm referring to specifically a composite bot here. We'll talk about simple bots later. Within a composite bot, if you have the same pair, if you have 2 actions or messages for the same pair, you're going to need a delay. If it's for different pairs, then you can simply do no delay. It'll work fine, or at least it should. The technology is always changing and all that wonderful stuff. So, but yeah, if it turns out that it doesn't work at a future date, don't hold me to it. It changes all the time. So as far as I understand it at the moment, that if you're going to send 2 messages to the same pair, so BNB or something like that, then you're going to have a delay. The recommended is at least 5. I feel like that's a good enough time. If you get an error or something, then maybe bump it up to 6 or to 10 or something like that. Okay, but since in our example I'm working with 2 separate pairs, we're working with BNB and Ethereum, I don't need to worry about that. Now the next thing here is your info. Now the info is really cool. Normally when you create a message, let's go back here. So remember here when I created the alert, what I did was copied and pasted, so let's say TBO, and it doesn't really matter at this point. Well, I'll just put TBO on, whatever. Okay. Now remember here, you can see that when it creates the alert here, it puts in that message, but trying to read that and remember what that message is for is not really friendly at all. Like trying to be like, well, what did I use this for again? Especially when you have 30, 40, 50 alerts, you're going to be sitting there like, oh, okay. And especially if you have multiple alerts on 1 day time frame and then also on Ethereum BTC, you can see how it can get kind of confusing. So the info actually comes in and changes that, which is really cool. So let's go to the info here. And you can actually put in whatever you want. So let's say TBO long. And what that's going to do, actually here, I'll show you what it does without it. Right, well, I already showed you what it does without it, so I'll just leave that in that TBO long. And what that's going to do is actually add some information here that shows TBO long, or whatever you type in. So it's really handy. It's a note. Think of it as a note to give yourself a reminder. Don't put in some long, crazy paragraph. It needs to be as short as possible. So just a few words, as few words as possible. So just remember that. It is optional, but it is nice to have. Okay, now that you've gotten this far, what you want to do here is step 4. Message for deal start signal goes here. Okay, so let's go over and grab our deal start signal. Oops. And I'm going to paste that in. You are not, and let me emphasize this, you are not going to put any other message in this container. The only message that you're ever going to put in here is going to be your deal start. So you're going to come down here, you can click this link here for deal start, or you can click the show button and then click this link here. Either or will work fine. And this is for composite bots and simple bots, so both. So it doesn't matter what bot you're using on 3 commas. The only message that you're going to click is the deal start signal, and then you're going to come here and paste that in. So I'm trying to make this incredibly clear now so that you know, when somebody comes into Discord and says, hey, why isn't this working? I can just be like, go watch the video. And that way it'll answer all their questions. Because whenever people come in and ask the same questions over and over and over, you know, it gets redundant, and it's just much easier when there's just one unified area that somebody can say, oh, okay, yeah, cool, now I know what's going on. So just a reminder, the only message that goes here is your deal start signal, and that is for both a composite bot and a simple bot, either or, it doesn't matter. I've left a little note here just as a reminder. Okay, so now that we've gotten this far, you'll notice nothing is printed down here yet. And the reason being is now we actually have to choose our exchange, and then we also have to choose our pair. So like what we were doing beforehand, that's pretty much already figured out here. For instance, here, like the pair is already, you know, BNB, and it knows that it's for Binance because in the bot here, it's, you know, I'm on 3C Exchange, so it's automatically Binance. But here in the alert builder, it doesn't know, like all it knows is that it's this pair, but it doesn't know what exchange. So in order to actually, you know, to choose that, what you'll do is just come down here to the selector and choose Binance. And then you'll come down here and actually choose BTC BNB. There we go. And so it'll print this for you, nicely formatted, and it'll have the information for you. And we also said that we were going to use Ethereum as well, right? So we're going to have the long for Ethereum, and then we're also going to have a long for BNB. So I'm going to go down here and put in BTC and put in Ethereum, and now we have both. So we've got BNB, and this matches. Let's go up here. So BNB and Ethereum. Now you'll notice here we've got BTC BNB and PTC Ethereum, and you'll notice, look here. Yeah, very nice. We got the info. Now if I don't have info, you'll see that it will remove it, and you'll notice that nothing changes. That's because the trigger is actually the pairs here at the bottom here. So if I hit BTC ETH and I remove it, you'll notice here that it now updates and there is no info. So I'm going to put this back. Okay, and BTC ETH. Oops. ETH. Okay. So now, and you can do as many pairs as you want as long as, you know, that they're on Binance, and it'll just keep generating these alerts for you. Now, the cool thing about this is all you have to do is just go down this list. So let's say there were 10 of them or something. You would literally just go down the list. And what I've done is I've made it easy to indicate which you've already copied. So for instance, let's start off with BNB. So I'm already, well, actually, let me go to BNB. Oops, BTC, BNB. Or nope, gosh darn it, BNB, BTC. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get my alert set up here, go to TBO long, and now I'm going to go back here, and all I have to do is go boom, I click that, and you'll notice this turns green. That means that it's copied to your clipboard, and I can just come here, paste it, and you'll notice that it's nice and formatted. I can hit create, and you'll see here that it now shows info TBO long, whereas before it did not show that. And if you hover over it, it's even nicely formatted on the hover so you can actually read it, where it's not all scrunched together, you know, beforehand. Normally, so for instance, let me delete this. If you'll notice here, if we go back here, if I copy just this here, and I go and I create an alert, and TBO long, and I paste this in here. Look at how it's not formatted at all. It's all scrunched together. You got no idea what's going on with that. All you know is it says TBO long for the trigger, and that's all you know. But if I go here and I edit this, and I go back here and I copy that, I can paste that in, and now you'll notice that it's nicely formatted. So now the only thing that I have to do is, if you have two screens, it makes it really easy. But now I'll just go to my ETH, so ETH pair, go to Ethereum, BTC, open, get this prepped and ready, boom, boom, boom. You'll set up everything that you need here. I'm going to delete you. Then all I have to do is go boom. I click you, this turns green. I know that I have clicked it, and it's good to go. So it's kind of helps you keep in line, especially when you've got like 10, 15 rows. You know what you've clicked on and what you haven't clicked on. And then you'll just come here, paste it, boom. And then it's formatted and good to go. Okay, I'm going to take a swig of water. Alright, so that's the composite bot. Now that you know a lot of the information, the simple bot or the mixed is going to be a little bit easier to understand as well. The composite bot is the easier of the two, because really all you're doing is changing the pair, right? You're choosing your pairs here, and it's for the same bot. Nothing really changes in that regard. Now, do remember though, for the delay, the rule of thumb is if you're creating an action for you know, if you're doing two actions for one alert, you need a delay. If you're just doing one action for the alert, then you don't need a delay. Alright, now let's jump over to the mixed. Alright, so this is slightly more confusing, only because you can get as complex as you want with it. It's not inherently confusing, but if you get complex with what you're trying to do, then it will obviously get a little bit more confusing depending on what you're trying to do. Let's see, what's the best way to do this? So let me go back to my bots here, and let's say I've got 5 simple bots here. Okay, let's start with simple bot number 1. Alright. So the first thing that you want to do is decide how many messages, so remember messages, these guys down here, how many messages for one alert. Okay. Actually, yeah, no, that's right. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. Okay, how many messages for one alert? So the thing that you got to remember here is this is all for one alert. So everything here that you see here is all for one TradingView alert. What we're doing is we're adding multiple messages. So for instance, let's say I wanted 2 of these guys in one alert. So if I wanted to have them all combined into everything within the message here. So that's what's happening here. It's all for one alert. Okay, so let's take an example. Let's start off with just one simple bot. Let's say it's not for, we don't have multiple messages, we only have one message. I can come down here and I'm working with a simple bot. I want the deal start, and I don't need a delay because I don't have anything happening beforehand. I'm basically just starting up the deal. This is going to be a TBO long. I'll just use the same exact example here. Quick ID I will come back to, and then I'm going to come here. Oops, sorry. I'm going to come here, click on the deal start. Gosh darn it. Okay, and then remember, deal start only. So I clicked on the deal start. I now paste that in. Okay, and now this has formatted nicely. It adds the info in, and I can simply click this. It will copy it automatically. You'll notice here that it clicked me. It will automatically copy it to the clipboard. And so now I can come back here. I can do the exact same thing that I was doing before. TBO long. Boom. Okay, so that's simple enough. We've got our formatted alert for our simple bot for the Ethereum. Good to go. Okay, now this is where it gets a little more interesting. Let's say that we have 2 simple bots. So I'm going to go back here. Let's say I have simple bot number 1 and I have simple bot number 2. Now, let's say, and I've got them for ETH. I actually have them both on the same pair, which is great. So let's say this is a long bot. I'm actually going to rename this to make it easy to read. Long bot. Okay. And this is going to be a short bot. Alright, short. Save. Boom. Alright. Let's go back to number 1, long bot. Alright. Let's say I want to create, I've been doing long, so let's do a short scenario. Let's say I want to close a long bot. So boom, I'm going to close you. Let's say I have a deal open currently in a long position, and I want to close it so that I can actually start a short position instead. Alright, so we're closing the long position, opening a short position on the short bot. So what I can do here is I can come up here and remember how many number of messages are we using for one alert. Well, we're dealing with 2 simple bots, right? So I've got a message for my long bot, and then I've got a message for my short bot that I'll have to go to and get that message. So I'm going to go here and say 2 because I have 2 messages, and you can do up to 4. I have 2 messages. So in this one, let's say I want to close the long in this one, and then I want to open the short in this one. So let's go to our long bot. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close at market price. I'm going to click close. Oh no, I about just did a mistake here. That's exactly what you don't want to do. You want to come here, and for both bots, no matter what you want to do, because I'm thinking ahead, so I apologize for that. So what you want to do for both bots is just go ahead and get your deal start. Just go ahead and do that. Boom. Deal start for you, and then you know what? This is gonna. Let's just go down the line one more time. I don't want to get ahead of myself because that's what I'm going to do. It's going to get confusing, yada yada. All right, long bot. Boom, bot one. We're going to start at the top here. It is a simple bot, yes. Okay. What do we want this bot to do? We want to close at market price. So I'm going to go ahead and choose close at market price. And I'm not dealing with anything that's conflicting, so I can just leave this at 0. I don't have to worry about this. This alert is close long, so I could say that. So I'm going to come here, and remember we only use the deal start. Okay. Now I know some of you are questioning what the deal is because we're using the deal start here, but we want to close at market price. Well, what it's doing here is it's taking the information from what you've pasted in the deal start, and it's actually just taking that and then just changing the deal start condition to the close at market price condition instead. So you'll notice here down below it does not use the deal start, which is what we pasted here. It actually overrides that with whatever you select up top here. So remember, I want to close my long and open a short here, so close at market price, and you'll notice down here the action says close at market price. Alright, now let's go to our short bot. I'm glad I did it this way because otherwise I was getting ahead of myself and it's going to be confusing. Okay, so same situation here. I'm going to go ahead and just click you, the deal start. I'm going to copy you. And what do I want this bot to do? It's a simple bot. I want to open my short bot here. I don't need a delay. I'm dealing with two different bots here, so I don't need a delay on this one. You know, I should specify before, actually here, let me finish this, but I'm going to specify something that is important about the delay, so we'll come back to that. So short open, and then I'm going to post the same, or paste the exact same thing here, so the deal start, and you'll notice here that it now formats everything. It's got a close long, it's got the short open. All you gotta do is click that bad boy there, and then come up here, and then let's say, so I'm closing a long, so I would want the alert to fire on the short because I want to open the short. So it would be there. Alright, boom. There we go. And if I hover over here, now we have both the info for both of them. So now this whenever a short alert fires, it closes a long position and then opens a short position. Okay, let's go back to the delay thing because I need to make sure that this is understood. And I should specify as well that it's different on spot markets versus like something like futures on 3 So on 3 you can only have one position open at a time for the leveraged accounts like margin and futures, things like that, at least for right now. So if you're working with different bots and you can only have one position open at a time, you're going to need to have a delay. Even if you're having, I know beforehand I said if you're doing different actions for different bots you don't, but that's for the spot market, so we'll come back to that. So let's just do a clarification on when you need a delay and when you don't need a delay. Let's start with just simply the futures market or anything that deals with a leverage market. So on 3 you can only have one position open at a time unless you have beast mode running, which is a setting within 3 that's for more complex operations. I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to refer to basically not having beast mode. So if you have one position open, that means that in this scenario, let's say on the futures market or something like that, if I'm closing a short position, I need to have a processing time to close that position, and then I need to have a processing time to actually open that position. So remember, this is for futures, leverage, all that kind of stuff. If you are on the futures, the leverage, all that kind of stuff, if you're in beast mode, I would still recommend having the delay. You may be able to get away with something lower than that, but I don't know. It's risky. It's risky. So, but on the futures market and leverage accounts, you always need to have a delay because you can only have one position open unless you're using beast mode. All right. So on the spot market, where you can have multiple positions open because it's typically for the same pair or for multiple pairs. The only time that you need to have a delay is if you're working with a composite bot and you are working with the same pair. So if you are doing an action that does something with the same pair. So if I'm closing a deal for BNB and then opening a deal for BNB, you need to have a delay. If you're doing something on different pairs, you don't need to have a delay. Okay, so composite bot, same pair, you need to have a delay. Composite bot, different pairs, you do not need to have a delay. Okay, so spot market simple bot now, you're working with the same pair regardless. So if you're doing something with the simple bot, the same simple bot, you need to have a delay. If you're doing something with multiple simple bots, so for instance this example, you don't need to have a delay. Okay, so if you have one simple bot, you're working with just one, and you're doing a close and then an open, back to back in the same message, you need to have a delay. If you're working with multiple bots, you do not need to have a delay. So if you need to write that down, play that back or something, and then I don't know, make a spreadsheet or something, please do that so that you're not confused. Once you start getting the hang of it, it'll come much easier to kind of know what happens with what. But please just write that down or something, or actually maybe I can put a note up here or something. That way it's just a nice reminder or something like that. Okay. I apologize that this is so long, but there's a lot of information packed in here about alerts and how this actually makes it easier. Okay, so let's say for example we want to have 4 messages. This would be the same situation. Just go down. The easiest thing to not confuse yourself is literally just to do what we just did. Just go top to bottom. What kind of bot is it? Is it a simple bot? Yes. Is it a composite bot? Yes. Okay, what do I want this to do? This message to do? I want it to deal start. I want to close at market price. I want to cancel the deal. Whatever this message is going to be, you put that in. You go by the rules of the delay. Put in whatever information you want for the info. And then you put in the deal start, and then it'll spit it out down here. It'll override whatever you put here with whatever you choose up top here. So the same thing that we have here. And then you go to the next one. Okay, what is this? Is it a simple bot? Yes. What do I want this to do? I want it to open a deal. This is the short open. Boom, paste in the deal start, and then it'll do that kind of stuff. And then you just go on for 3 and 4. Okay. I'm not going to go through all those because this is already super long. Now let's go with a simple bot and a composite bot. Now if you remember with a composite bot, we actually had to specify what pair that we wanted the message to interact with, right? So what I'm going to do is change this to composite. Okay. And I'm going to close you out, close you out. Okay. Now let's say for this example, let me go to bot 1, simple bot 1, long bot 1. Okay, let's say that I want this bot to open a deal, but I also want my composite bot to open a deal as well on the same trigger or the same alert. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and copy my deal start, and this is for Ethereum. So I'm going to go to my Ethereum. Oh, I'm already here. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to delete you. All right. So this, we want it, what do we want it to do? We want a deal start, and then this is going to be, oh, I don't know, let's just go something simple, TBO long. I'm going to paste this in here, and the delay, I don't need to worry about that because I don't have any of the delay criteria. It spits it out down here, and you're good to go. Now, if I'm working with my composite bot, let's go to my composite bot real quick. Alright, so composite bot. Now we're going to copy the deal start here. Okay. And we're going to come back here. And this is a composite bot. I want to also start the deal for my composite bot as well. I don't need to worry about the delay. And this is, let's say, composite TBO long or something like that. And then I'm going to paste that in here. I'm going to choose Binance, and I'm going to specify whatever pair that I want. So Ethereum, and boom, there we go. So now I have a simple bot that's going to start a deal. I also have a composite bot that's going to start a deal on the same alert. So I can come here. I now have the composite bot. I can simply click. It'll copy it for me. Come here, TBO long. Boom, create that. And now I've got both of those messages starting deals for both of those bots, the simple bot and the composite bot. So you can see how this can get complex, but if you think through it, it will make it so much easier to understand what you're doing, because you're just going logically like, okay, what kind of bot? What do I need this bot to do? You know, what is my message going to be for this bot? Do I need to include a delay? You know, think back to your notes about that. And then just, you know, a helpful note for yourself. Paste in the deal start. Always the deal start condition. Always the deal start condition. Doesn't matter. No matter what you're doing, always a deal start condition, because it's going to change, you know, up here for your action up here. So always deal start here. And then, you know, if it's a composite bot, make sure you choose your exchange and then your pair. And then it'll spit it out. Okay. Holy moly, this is a long video. Last thing, absolute last thing, and then I'm going to cut it. Okay. Quick ID. What the frick is this? Alright, so if you have like 10 or 15 bots or something like that, and let's say that you're doing the exact same signal. So, you know what? Let's just leave it as is right here. Let's say that I have this composite bot. I want to start the deal for this composite bot. I also want to start the deal for my simple bot. Let's say that for my bots here, let's go to the simple bots, my bots. Let's say that I want to have an alert for every single one of these simple bots. But for that same alert, I also want to have the deal start for my composite bot here. Well, instead of going into each one of these bots individually, if you look here on the link at the bottom left down here, I don't know how well you can see it, but you can actually just copy this. Okay, how am I going to do this? Okay, step one. Step one. Go to your simple bot, whatever you want to do. If you have multiple simple bots, go to your first one. Go there. Click the deal start. Go to alert builder. This is all going to be the same here. Paste that in. Boom, you got your deal start. Okay, go back. Step two. Go to whatever other scenario that you're going to be dealing with. So in this scenario, I'm going to be using a composite bot as well. So boom, deal start condition. Go ahead, paste you in. Okay. Now, my composite bot, I only have one composite bot, so this is going to stay the same no matter what in this scenario. So I don't have to worry about changing this at all. The only thing that I'm going to have to change is the pair down here, because if I'm working with different simple bots up here, so well, these are all these are all Ethereum, but imagine these were different pairs. You would want to, you know, open the correct pair for the composite bot whenever you're changing it for the simple. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna do this just to make it simple. BTC ADA. There we go. Actually, no, let's do BNB because I had that on the. Boom. There we go. Okay. Alright, so normally what you would have to do is if you wanted to change the information for the simple bot, because remember, this is going to stay the same, the composite bot, the pairs and everything, the deal start signal, that's all going to stay the same. The only thing that you need to specify is the pairs down here. But on the simple bots, normally what you would have to do is come in and grab the deal start message for every single one of those simple bots. Well, that's a pain. I don't want to do that, and I know you guys don't want to do that. So instead of doing that, what you need to do is get your first bot, whatever you're using, get the deal start condition for that. It needs this information. It needs the format of this information to work with, to begin with. So you're going to paste in your first bot, the deal start condition there. So, you know, go boom, long bot or simple bot, whatever your first bot is, copy that and then paste that in. You have to have this format first. Now what you can do is go back to your page here, and I've already done this bot here. All I have to do here now is right click, copy link address, and then paste this in the quick ID. And what it's going to do, you notice nothing changes here, but down here you notice that it changes, it updates. It's 8555. That's what I pasted up here. So now I can come in here, boom, this is a new alert. Okay, next I come down here, I right click, copy this, and you don't even have to double click. I have it set that it will, you can click once, it'll highlight it, then you can paste it automatically. And if you're on a Windows, it's Control V, and then if you're on Mac, I think it's Command V. And you'll notice here that this now changes, so it was 55. It now changes to 57 for my third bot here, and you'll notice that this alert updates. So boom, I can copy this, boom, that's another alert. Simple bot number 4, I copy this link, I come here, I paste, I click, it copies for me, I go here, I create the alert, paste it, boom, you're done. You come back here, you go to number 5, copy the link, paste, copy. It's already copied for you. Just click, you come here, you create the alert, paste it, boom, you're good to go. So you can see how you can get into a rhythm and blow through like 10, 15, 20 alerts within 5 minutes or less. Once you get the hang of it and understand what you're doing, it's really going to simplify your life in the connection between TradingView alerts and 3Commas. Okay, holy moly. Oh, sorry. Well, I almost forgot. Okay, so in this same scenario, what I'm talking about, when you're updating the alerts here, so okay, boom, you copy the link here. This is BNB, so I'm gonna paste this. Don't forget to update your composite bot as well for this alert, because you want, in this scenario, I want it to open. And then you'll notice down here, it'll change the pair to BNB as well. So boom, I copy this, make an alert for BNB. I go back here. Let's say the pair is now ADA instead of Ethereum. I copy you, I click, I paste, I change you now to BTC ADA. I click, I create the alert, I paste it in, and you're good to go. Okay, I'm glad I did not forget that step, because this video is already crazy long. But yeah, so if you have questions, put them in the Discord in the PCS Tools channel. Please rewatch this video if you need to. It's a lot of information. So take it in steps. Don't try and get super complex on the get-go, because you're going to get confused. Things are not going to work the way they expect them to. You're going to have errors maybe on 3Commas. I don't know. And then you'll probably come and ask in Discord, and you know, I'll have no idea what you did and all that kind of stuff. So please just take it a step at a time. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't rush into it. Just do simple things first and then get into the more complex stuff, because it can get complex. You see what I just going over this, you can see it can get somewhat complex. But once you get it down and you understand what you're doing, I mean, I was able to go through, I think it was 15 alerts in less than 5 minutes. I think it was maybe like 2 to 3 minutes. Because you just get into a rhythm, like, okay, do what you need to do, like none of this changes, get the quick link, boom, I update it, change the pair, boom, it's done. Go to the next, quick link, change the pair, boom, done, go to the next. You can see how it makes it super easy. You don't have to worry about formatting, you know, none of that. Imagine trying to do all this by hand. Imagine trying to do this without any of this, like trying to keep track of your bot IDs as well as like which pair you're going to update. It's, yeah, it's stupid. Okay, all right, I'm going to sign out. Good luck with everything. I hope your trades go well. Take care.